You're such an asshole!
This reading is an excerpt from the book 1,366 Well-Sourced Examples of Barack Obama's Lies, Lawbreaking, Corruption, Cronyism, Hypocrisy, Waste, etc. by Daniel Alman. The link will be put below to the Amazon book in the course, not the course description, the video description. Every president, every politician, and every human being tells lies and engages in acts of hypocrisy. But Barack Obama does these things to a far greater degree than anyone else that I have ever known of. His campaign promises were so much better sounding than anyone else's. No lobbyist in his administration, waiting 5 days before signing all non-emergency bills so people would have time to read them, putting healthcare negotiations on C-SPAN, reading every bill line by line to make sure money isn't being wasted, prosecution of Wall Street criminals, even raids against medical marijuana in states where it's legal, high levels of transparency. Obama's promises of all these wonderful things sounded inspiring and sincere. They sounded so much better than the promises of any other president. So when Obama broke these promises, it felt so much worse than when other presidents broke their promises. In the 2008 United States election, I wrote in Ron Paul for president. In the 2012 and 2016 elections, I voted for the Libertarian Party candidate, Gary Johnson. Those who are of a more leftist persuasion than myself might want to consider voting for the Green Party in future elections. Some of the things on this list are major events that should scare the daylights out of any true liberal who cares about civil liberties. Other things on this list are medium things that some Obama supporters may dislike, but will be willing to overlook in light of the things that Obama has done, which they like. And some of these things on this list may seem trivial, but I think they are an interesting reflection of the kinds of policies that Obama supports. Every claim that I make on this list is sourced. Click on the underlined text to see the sources. I have cited a wide variety of sources, from right wing to left wing to middle of the road. And now on to the list. 1. Carried out military interventionism in Libya without congressional approval. In June 2011, U.S. Congressman Dennis Kucinich of Ohio said that Obama had violated the Constitution when he launched military operations in Libya without congressional approval. In April of 2014, Ralph Nader said that Obama should be impeached for his actions in Libya. 2. Gave a no-bid contract to Halliburton cronies just like Bush did. In May of 2010, it was reported that the Obama administration had selected KBR, a former subsidiary of Halliburton, for a no-bid contract worth as much as $568 million through 2011, just hours after the Justice Department had said it would pursue a lawsuit accusing the Houston-based company of using kickbacks to get foreign contracts. Don't be fooled by the words former subsidiary. These are the same Halliburton cronies that Bush gave a no-bid contract to. 3. Has an administration full of lobbyists after promising he wouldn't have any. On November 15, 2007 in Las Vegas, Nevada, Obama said that lobbyists will not work in my White House. However, by February 2010, he had more than 40 lobbyists working in his administration. A list of them can be seen here. 4. Had close ties to Wall Street, but pretended to support Occupy Wall Street. Although Obama claimed to support the Occupy Wall Street movement, the truth is, as of 2011, he had raised more money from Wall Street than any other candidate during the previous 20 years. In early 2012, Obama held a fundraiser where Wall Street investment bankers and hedge fund managers each paid $38,500 to attend. In October of 2011, Obama hired Broderick Johnson, a longtime Wall Street lobbyist, to be his new senior campaign advisor. Johnson had worked as a lobbyist for J.P. Morgan Chase, Bank of America, Fannie Mae, Comcast, Microsoft, and the oil industry. 5. Broke his promise to close Guantanamo Bay. Obama's campaign made the following promise. As president, Barack Obama will close the detention facility at Guantanamo. PolitiFact rated this as promise broken. In July 2012, ABC News reported that this, quote, might be President Obama's biggest broken promise. I've gotten more criticism for this particular item than any other item on my list. People have said that Obama tried to close Guantanamo Bay, but was blocked by Republicans in the House and Senate. However, Obama did not promise that he would try to close it. He promised that he would close it. Furthermore, there were enough Democrats in the House and Senate to pass Obamacare without any Republicans voting on it. So if you want to blame someone in the House and Senate for failing to close Guantanamo Bay, I suggest you blame the Democrats. 6. Supported the $700 billion TARP corporate welfare bailout, just like Bush. While Senator Obama voted for the $700 billion TARP bank bailout bill, the bailout rewarded irresponsible and illegal behavior. It redirected resources from the productive uses to less productive uses. It punished the hardworking taxpayers who had played by the rules and obeyed the law. It created horrible incentives and sent the wrong message. The bailout was evil because it rewarded the bad people and it punished the good people. No society that does this can expect to remain free or prosperous. Instead of bailing out these corrupt corporations, we should have let them cease to exist like we did with Enron. 7. Waged the biggest war against medical marijuana of any president, which was the opposite of what he had promised. In May 2008, Obama campaign spokesperson Ben LaBolt said that Obama would end DEA raids on medical marijuana in states where it's legal. Also in 2008, Obama said that he supported the basic concept of using medical marijuana for the same purposes and with the same controls as other drugs, and that he was not going to be using Justice Department resources to try to circumvent state laws. However, in February of 2010, DEA agents raided a medical marijuana grower in Highlands Ranch in Colorado, a state where medical marijuana is legal. Also in February of 2010, DEA agents raided a medical marijuana dispensary in Culver City in California, a state where medical marijuana is legal. In July of 2010, the DEA raided at least 4 medical marijuana growers in San Diego, California. Also in July of 2010, the DEA raided a medical marijuana facility in Covelo, California. Then in September of 2010, the DEA conducted raids on at least 5 medical marijuana dispensaries in Las Vegas, Nevada, where medical marijuana is legal. In 2011, the DEA conducted raids on medical marijuana in Seattle, Washington, West Hollywood, California, Helena, Montana, all places where it is legal. In April of 2012, the DEA carried out several raids on medical marijuana in Oakland, California. In February of 2012, Rolling Stone magazine wrote that Obama's war against medical marijuana went far beyond anything undertaken by George W. Bush. In April of 2012, Mother Jones magazine wrote, the president campaigned on the promise that he'd stop federal raids on medical marijuana operations that were in commonplace with state laws, a vow that Attorney General Eric Holder repeated after the election. But then the Obama administration raided more than 100 dispensaries in its first 3 years and is now poised to outpace the Bush administration crackdown record. In May of 2012, the Washington Post wrote, Obama has become more hostile to medical marijuana patients than any other president in U.S. history. In May of 2012, U.S. Congressman Nancy Pelosi, Democrat, California, said she has strong concerns about Obama's forced closure of 5 medical marijuana facilities in Pelosi's congressional district. In April of 2012, commenting on Obama's crackdown on medical marijuana, U.S. Congressman Barney Frank, Democrat, Massachusetts, said, I'm very disappointed. They look more like the Bush administration than the Clinton administration. In July 2012, federal prosecutors filed civil forfeiture actions against Harborside Health Care Center, a medical marijuana dispensary in Oakland, California, which claims to be the world's largest and which claims to serve more than 100,000 medical marijuana patients. In April of 2012, federal agents raided Oaksterdam University, an educational institution in Oakland, California, which teaches people about medical marijuana. In April of 2012, federal agents raided a medical marijuana facility which has been serving 1,500 patients near Lake Elsinore, California. In June of 2012, the Obama administration filed asset forfeiture lawsuits against 2 landlords who rented their buildings to medical marijuana stores in Santa Fe Springs, California. The Obama administration also sent warning letters which threatened similar legal actions to dozens of other nearby landlords. In the first 7 months of 2012, the DEA shut down 40 medical marijuana dispensaries in Colorado, all of which had been operating in compliance with state and local law. In April of 2013, the DEA raided 4 medical marijuana dispensaries in Los Angeles, California. Also in April of 2013, the DEA raided a medical marijuana dispensary in San Diego, California. In July of 2013, the DEA conducted multiple marijuana raids in Washington state, including the cities of Olympia, Tacoma, and Seattle. In August of 2013, the DEA raided People's Choice Alternative Medicine, a medical marijuana facility in Ann Arbor, Michigan. In October of 2013, the DEA raided 28 medical marijuana facilities in Michigan. In November of 2013, the DEA raided 12 medical marijuana facilities in Denver, Colorado. In April 2014, the DEA raided 4 medical marijuana dispensaries in Denver, Colorado. In June of 2014, DEA agents visited the homes and offices of doctors in Massachusetts who had written prescriptions for medical marijuana and threatened to confiscate the federal licenses to prescribe certain medications if they did not stop writing prescriptions for medical marijuana. In October of 2014, the DEA raided 2 medical marijuana dispensaries in Los Angeles, California. In May 2012, ABC News reported that during Obama's youth, he often smoked large quantities of recreational marijuana. Obama's marijuana smoking wasn't even medical, it was recreational. And yet now he's taking large-scale, widespread action to prevent people with AIDS, cancer, multiple sclerosis, glaucoma, and other illnesses who have prescriptions from the doctors from using their prescription medicine. How cold-hearted can a person be? 8. Nominated a 6-time tax cheater to head the government agency that enforces the tax law. Obama nominated Timothy Geithner, a repeated tax cheater, to head the government agency that enforces tax law. Prior to his nomination, Geithner had 1. Illegally failed to pay more than $34,000 in Social Security and Medicare taxes. 2. Illegally declared the cost of his children's summer camp as a form of daycare. 3. Illegally paid for the early withdrawal penalty when he took money out of his retirement plan. 4. Illegally declared non-eligible items as charitable deductions. 5. Illegally declared something which is ineligible as a small business deduction. 6. Illegally declared utility expenses which had actually been for his personal use. And that's all that is there. Item number 9. Gave tax dollars to AIG executives, then pretended to be outraged about it. Obama signed a stimulus bill that spent money on bonuses for AIG executives. Prior to signing this bill, Obama had said, "When I'm president, I will go line by line and make sure that we are not spending money unwisely." However, after reading line by line and signing the stimulus bill that protected the AIG bonuses, Obama pretended to be shocked and outraged at the bonuses and said, "Under these circumstances, it's hard to understand how derivative traders at AIG warranted any bonuses at all, much less $165 million in extra pay. How do they justify this outrage to the taxpayers who are keeping the company afloat?" And also said that he would pursue every single legal avenue to block those bonuses. 10. Expanded Bush's unconstitutional government faith-based program. Obama expanded the federal government's faith-based programs, which had been started under President George W. Bush. 11. Supported Bush's unconstitutional Patriot Act. In May 2011, Obama signed a renewal of the Patriot Act. 12. Increased the national debt more in one term than Bush did in 2. The national debt increased more during Obama's first 3 years and 2 months than it did during all 8 of George W. Bush's presidency. 13. Agrees with Bush's support of unconstitutional, indefinite detention of U.S. citizens without filing any charges. In December of 2011, ACLU Director Anthony Romero criticized Obama for signing a bill that gave the U.S. government the power to indefinitely detain U.S. citizens without any charges being filed or trial taking place. 14. Agrees with Bush's support of unconstitutional warrantless wiretapping. President Obama has defended warrantless wiretapping. 15. Avoided prosecution of Wall Street criminals. Although Obama had promised to prosecute Wall Street criminals, during his entire first term, his administration did not file any criminal charges against any of the top financial executives. 16. Had 4 U.S. citizens killed without judicial process. Obama had 4 U.S. citizens killed without judicial process. The ACLU accused Obama of violating the U.S. Constitution for doing this. U.S. Congressman Ron Paul, Republican Texas, said that Obama's actions might be an impeachable offense. Ralph Nader wrote that Obama, quote, has extended the Bush doctrine by declaring his unilateral right as secret prosecutor, judge, jury, and executioner to destroy anybody anywhere in the world, including American citizens suspected to be engaged in alleged terrorist activities, all this vaguely and loosely defined as anti-U.S. security. 17. Ordered private companies to fire over 1,000 employees. In 2011, after Boeing had hired 1,000 new employees to work at its new factory in South Carolina, the Obama administration ordered Boeing to shut down the factory because the factory was non-union. 18. Stole money from retired teachers and police officers. During the Chrysler bankruptcy, Obama violated the Fifth Amendment in more than 150 years of bankruptcy law by illegally treating secured creditors worse than unsecured creditors. Some of these secured creditors were retired teachers and police officers from Indiana. Richard A. Epstein, a law professor at New York University Law School, wrote this, quote, upsetting this fixed hierarchy among creditors is just an illegal taking of property from one group of creditors for the benefit of another, which should be struck down on both statutory and constitutional grounds. Todd Zywicki, professor of law at George Mason University School of Law, wrote that Obama's treatment of secured creditors was dangerous to the rule of law. The Economist wrote that Obama's actions could, quote, establish a terrible precedent. Bankruptcy exists to sort legal claims on assets. If it becomes a tool of social policy, who will then lend to struggling firms in which the government has political interests? Francis Cianfroccoa, the CEO of Bayshore Networks, wrote that Obama's actions were, quote, an astonishing, reckless abrogation of contract law that will introduce a new level of uncertainty into business transactions at all levels and make wealth generation more difficult going forward. An extraordinary certainty has been created when the most powerful man in the world can rewrite contracts and choose winners and losers in private negotiations as he sees fit. Since this is an unquantifiable uncertainty and not a quantifiable risk, its effects on business and investor confidence will be large and unpredictable. As in the 1930s, a time when government also cavalierly rewrote private contracts, the prudent approach for business will be to invest minimally and wait for another administration. 19. Supported release of convicted mass murderer. In 2010, Obama supported releasing Lockerbie bomber Adel Bassett al-Meghari, who had been convicted of murdering 270 people, from prison. 20. Illegally put thousands of guns into the hands of criminals. In Operations Fast and Furious, the Obama administration ordered gun store owners to illegally sell thousands of guns to criminals. U.S. Border Patrol agent Brian Terry was murdered with one of these guns. The murderer was sentenced to 30 years in prison, but his accomplices, Eric Holder and Barack Obama, haven't even been arrested or charged. 21. Fired Inspector General for discovering that Obama's friend had embezzled government funds. In June 2009, Obama fired Inspector General Gerald Walpin after Walpin accused Sacramento Mayor Kevin Johnson, an Obama supporter, of misuse of AmeriCorps funding to pay for school boarding political activities. In a letter to Congress, the White House said that Walpin was fired because he was confused, disoriented, unable to answer questions, and exhibited other behavior that led the board to question his capacity to serve. A bipartisan group of 145 current and former public officials, attorneys, legal scholars signed a letter that was sent to the White House which defended Walpin, said the criticisms of him were not true, and said that his firing was politically motivated. The letter can be found here. 22. Lied about putting health care negotiations on C-SPAN. Although Obama had made a campaign promise to have all of the health care reform negotiations broadcast on C-SPAN, he broke that promise after he was elected. The secrecy of those negotiations was so strong that U.S. Congressman and Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi, Democrat, California, said, "We have to pass the bill so you can find out what is in it." 23. Lied about letting people keep their health insurance. Before Obamacare was passed, Obama said, quote, "No matter how we reform health care, we will keep this promise to the American people. If you like your health care plan, you will be able to keep your health care plan, period. No one will take it away no matter what." Also, before Obamacare was passed, Obama said, "Here is a guarantee that I've made. If you have insurance that you like, then you will be able to keep that insurance." However, after Obamacare was passed, the Congressional Budget Office said that the law would cause 7 million people to lose their employer-provided insurance. After Obamacare was passed, 1199 SEIU, United Healthcare Workers East, announced that it would drop health insurance for the children of more than 30,000 low-wage home attendants. Mitra Beruzzi, Executive Director of Benefit and Pension Funds for 1199 SEIU, stated, quote, "New federal health care reform legislation requires plans with dependent coverage to expand that coverage up to age 26, meaning this new requirement would be financially impossible." Also, after Obamacare was passed, the Franciscan University of Steubenville dropped its coverage in response to the law. Universal Orlando dropped its coverage for part-time employees in response to Obamacare. In addition, after Obamacare was passed, Forbes reported, quote, "The House Ways and Means Committee has realized a new report that sheds light on how Obamacare incentivizes companies to dump their workers onto the new law's subsidized exchanges." After Obamacare was passed, MSN reported, quote, "The Affordable Care Act mandate, most commonly known as Obamacare, has some tight stipulations that CNN says are forcing health care companies to rip up most of their current plans and draft new ones that comply. According to a University of Chicago study, about half of the individual health care plans currently on the market won't cut it once key provisions of the Affordable Health Care Act kick in next year. Furthermore, it was reported that Obamacare would cause 58,000 Aetna United Health Group customers in California to lose their insurance. In response to Obamacare, some employers have dropped coverage for their employees' spouses. In August of 2013, it was reported that UPS had announced that it would be dropping 15,000 spouses from its employees from its health insurance, and that it had cited Obamacare as the reason it was doing this. The chain of Wiegum's supermarkets canceled the policies of its part-time employees in response to Obamacare. In July of 2013, leaders of the Teamsters UFCW and Unite Here sent a letter to Harry Reid and Nancy Pelosi, which said that Obamacare, quote, will shatter not only our hard-earned health benefits, these restrictions will make nonprofit plans like ours unsustainable. We can no longer stand silent in the face of elements of our Affordable Health Care Act that will destroy the very health and well-being of our members, along with millions of other hardworking Americans. In August of 2013, it was reported that 106,000 New Jersey citizens would lose their health insurance because of Obamacare. In September 13, IBM announced it would be switching 110,000 of its retirees from current IBM-provided health care to the Obama exchanges. In September 2013, Trader Joe's announced that in response to Obamacare, it would stop providing insurance to its part-time employees. In October of 2013, it was reported that at least 146,000 people in Michigan would be losing their insurance because of Obamacare. In October 2013, it was reported that Florida Blue would be dropping 300,000 customers because of Obamacare. In October of 2013, it was reported that 491,977 individual insurance plans in California would be canceled because of Obamacare. In October 2013, it was reported that in response to Obamacare, Home Depot would stop providing insurance to its part-time employees. In October of 2013, it was reported that Obamacare was forcing Care First, Blue Cross Blue Shield to cancel the insurance of 76,000 people in Virginia, Maryland, and Washington, D.C. because their policies did not meet the minimum requirements of Obamacare. In October of 2013, it was reported that hundreds of thousands of people in Washington State would be losing their insurance because of Obamacare. In November of 2013, it was reported that nearly 250,000 people in Colorado would lose their insurance because of Obamacare. In January 2014, it was reported that in response to Obamacare, Target was planning to drop offering insurance to its part-time employees. 24 lied about the cost of Obamacare. Before Obamacare was passed, Obama promised, I will not, quote, I will not sign a plan that adds one dime to our deficits, either now or in the future. I will not sign it if it adds one dime to the deficit now or in the future, period. And now to prove that I'm serious, there will be a provision in this plan that requires us to come forward with more spending cuts if the savings are promised don't materialize. However, Obama signed it, the Washington Post reported that it would add more than $340 billion to the budget deficit over the next decade. In March of 2012, the Congressional Budget Office said that the next decade, Obamacare would cost twice as much as what Obama promised. In May of 2013, it was reported that Obamacare's program for high-risk patients was more expensive than what Obama had promised. And there's 1,300, only 25 more. I know it may seem like boring reading, but this is an excellent piece of investigative work and a work of posterity, so that you have this reference and it just keeps and it is all cited. I'm reading a digital version, and you almost want to get the digital version of this book because he does provide the links. A written book would be fine as well, but that's Daniel Alman. And it's 1,366. He writes out. He doesn't write out the numbers, just the numbers. 1,366 well-sourced examples of Barack Obama's lies, lawbreaking, corruption, cronyism, hypocrisy, waste, etc. by Daniel Alman. You could find it on Amazon. I think it is only in the Kindle version. Let me click on that, make sure. Yeah, I think it's only in the Kindle version. And you definitely want to get this so the next time that someone says, "Oh, don't give me an example," and it is a very well documented and resourced example. So the link will be in the description below.